Everyone is part of a bigger story. It's a bigger story than you can imagine. It's a big story about a really big God. Discover the story that shows you the character of God.
Hey, I'm Caleb, and I gotta show you my Bible. Whether you flip through the pages or scroll through an app, you'll find 66 books that fit together to tell of God's marvelous love for us. God chose to share this incredible story through a group of individuals who followed God. Now, these people, they weren't perfect, but they used the gifts that God had given them to write down God's words. And through them, we discover that we can have a friendship with the God who made the entire universe. That's an amazing display of creativity. And I have 4 stories to show you what it can look like. We get started in the very beginning. Out of empty nothingness, God creates the entire world. Mountains and seas and stars and chipmunks and pufferfish and us, people. In fact, we are made in the very image of God, which means that we can reflect some of God's mind-blowing creativity. Speaking of which, let's hop over to the book of Ephesians. That was a big one. In this letter to the church at Ephesus, the Apostle Paul writes, "We are God's creation. He created us to belong to Christ Jesus. Now we can do good works. Long ago, God prepared these works for us to do." God has given each of us creative gifts as unique as our individual fingerprints. As we follow Jesus, we begin to discover there's work designed just for us, something no one else in this world can do in quite the same way. Now, let's head all the way back to Genesis. Whew. We're covering a lot of distance today. There we go. Boom. Here, we meet someone with a giant opportunity to use his creativity, Joseph. After being sold by his brothers, sent to a foreign land, lied about, and thrown in prison for years, Joseph tells the meaning of Pharaoh's dream. Pharaoh, he's so impressed, he puts Joseph in charge of the whole country. And Joseph's got to use every ounce of creativity to solve a grainy problem coming his way. We wrap up just one book over, the book of Exodus. Here, God instructs Moses to build a beautiful temple where God's presence will rest among the Israelites. Now, God could drop the whole thing straight from heaven, fully formed. But instead, God chooses to work in unique ways through thousands of individuals to create this glorious home. You don't have to be an artist to be creative. In fact, true creativity plays out in more ways than you can imagine. And I can't wait to see how it shows up in you and me.